Namaste. Welcome to your practice. So we'll be focusing hugely on the hips today. So just start with more gentle hip opening, having the big toes touch at the back of the mat. You walk your knees as wide as is comfortable. And then walk down onto your elbows. Making sure your buttocks are touching the heels. If your knees hurt here, then please place a blanket or some support under the knees. And then start taking deep exhales into the hips. Feeling a gentle stretch in the inner thighs. And if it feels okay, then you can walk your hands forward so the forehead comes down onto the mat. But there's no need. You can just stay on your elbows. Calm, slow breaths. Guiding that exhalation down into the hips. And making sure you exhale out completely. Grounding. Releasing. And then slowly bring yourself back up to all fours. Tuck the toes under and start to move your hips up while pressing the hands down. And I suggest initially keeping the knees bent or starting to walk one heel down at a time to warm up the back of the thighs and to feel more into the hamstrings. Really feel the spine here. Connect the palms down to the mat. So again, that sense of grounding down through the hands, through the feet. And again, deep breaths. And then bring the knees back down and just take a child's pose to release extra tension from the hips and to take a breath into the back body as you're in child's pose. And then let's move with the hip sequence. So you come to downward facing dog. Maybe the knees are more straight this time if that feels okay. And then lift your right leg back and up. And bring the right knee to the right side of your mat behind the right wrist for your pigeon. Support your right buttock on something if need be. Adjust your front heel so that your front knee is happy. And again, just come to elbows first. So taking your time, feeling the hips heavy, feeling that both hip bones are same distance from the mat. No need to go deeper, but only if it feels comfortable. You can walk the hands forward, have the forehead come down onto the mat. And again, it's releasing grounding practice. So come to focus on the exhales here. Down into that right hip area. Slowly get ready to bring yourself out. So about 1 minute we stayed in pigeon pose. Tuck the back toes under, walk the back knee a little bit closer. You can release this to downward facing dog or another hip opening here where you lift the right leg back. Straighten the knee first, lift the right hip on top of the left hip, and then if it feels comfortable, bending the knees and letting that right heel drop towards the left buttock, both hands grounded. Spreading the toes, pushing the ball of the foot away, lengthening the right knee away, and then next inhale, straighten the knee and step the right leg back between the hands and get your feet aligned for warrior 2. So your front heel cuts half the instep of the back leg. When you start bending into that front knee, make sure the knee moves towards the little toe side of the foot, so it's not buckling inside. You ground the back foot, the little toe side of the back foot, the left foot, and then spread your hands at shoulder height, reaching the fingers away from each other. And then sit as deep so that you feel that gentle opening in the right hip, tucking the right buttock under, the sitting bone under, making sure the knee again doesn't move beyond the ankle, the heel. So you really again get grounded, get aligned. And then we'll move to the side angle pose from here. So another deeper hip opening yet. So place your hand onto your knee, your right elbow, lifting the left hand up towards the ceiling or above your head. Your hand can stay, your right hand can stay on the knee, only if it feels that you can stay in alignment without pushing your buttocks back. Bring the hand down onto the mat or on a block, or maybe even holding your ankle. Again, keep taking deep breaths. And then bring the hands down, lift the back heel up and step it back to downward facing dog. Grounding down through both sides. And then moving on to bring the right knee back onto the mat, but now halfway towards your hands. And then bring your left knee exactly behind the right knee and walk both feet away from each other. So there's space between your heels to sit down onto the mat or bring a block there or a cushion. So look, your right knee is on the top. Your heels are close to your hip bones. So I'll move so that you can see better. I'm not mirroring right now, so. And if your bottom knee is not happy, or if you can't get both sitting bones down onto the mat, then straighten the bottom leg and come to a different version of this pose. So I'm grounding down, bringing the hands in line with the knees, and please again stay there, or only if it feels that you can keep the integrity of the pose, meaning that your buttocks stay grounded on the mat, and lean forward, but keep pressing the hands down and moving weight back towards your hips so you're not putting too much pressure on your knees. Soften shoulders, soften face, soften jaw. Deep exhales down into the hips. Maybe even tiny pause after the exhale. Now slowly moving up, and then positioning your legs so still your right ankle stays on top of the left knee. So you can take a look for a moment. I'm not mirroring, so you'll be doing the opposite side. So right ankle on top of the left knee, toes pointing up towards the right knee. And then lift your chest. And again, if there's more leverage, walk the hands closer, walk your chest closer to the right shin bone. A few breaths here to feel again what's happening around the right hip area. And you can stay here, or you can come to what's sometimes called a double pigeon. So notice how I'm walking my left heel So it's right under my right knee. And say my right heel is right on top of the left knee. Now if your knees hurt, if the hips are a little bit more closed, then come to a version where you just cross the shins. So you don't have to have the heel on top of the knee version. You can just have that heel in front of the knee. Same thing, you can just stay upright with the spine relatively straight. Or again, if the hips allow, you start walking the hands forward, your chest comes forward, but you're pushing your weight back towards the hips and the buttocks move away from each other. So again, deep exhales. Feeling the sensations in the inner groin, the outer hip. Keep drawing the toes towards the knees so you protect your knee joint. Nice one. And then slowly back up, straightening the legs forward. And before doing the other side, we'll do symmetrical pose, just Paschimottanasana, forward fold. So both legs straight, flesh away from the buttocks, straight spine coming forward. A few breaths. Maybe pulsating a few times, lifting up, lengthening the spine, and then going deeper as you exhale. Keep your legs active, feet drawing up. Again, steady, grounded, slow breath. There's no rush in this practice. Exploring the breath, the connection between the breath and the body. And slowly walk yourself back up, cross your ankles, roll over the knees. We're back in downward facing dog. So again, a symmetrical pose where both sides of the body doing the same thing. Ground down through the hands, building strength through the upper part of the body by holding this downward facing dog a little bit longer. Shoulders away from the ears, back of the neck long. Navel gently draws back towards the spine. Sitting bones up towards the ceiling, away from each other, heels down towards the mat. Stay in downward facing dog for about a minute longer to build strength and stability, or release your knees down, keep your hips on top of the knees, walk your hands forward and forehead down onto the mat, Anahata Asana, sometimes also called a puppy dog, so kind of a very gentle version of downward facing dog. So choose either, so staying for another few breaths in downward facing dog, or coming to that gentler version that opens the shoulders, but at the same time releases and creates space in the shoulder area. Ground down through the hands here, push down as if you're trying to push the hands forward. From that action, the hips move up. Your thigh muscles are active, so pulling the kneecaps up. Keep your jaw soft, your eyes soft. So even when holding the poses longer, not letting yourself become tense and rigid. And then please, let's continue with the left hip. So we start from the pigeon pose, holding it for about a minute. So the left knee comes forward. Remember, something can come under your left buttock. You want that when the buttock is way high up, away from the floor. So then you want your buttock to rest on something, a cushion, a blanket, a block. As you walk forward, again, elbows first. Again, notice if you putting too much weight onto that front knee, press your elbows down slightly and move your weight back towards the hips. Then choose to stay here Or if your hips are a little bit more open, walk the hands forward, let the forehead come down onto the mat. Or again, on a support. Now keep softening around the shoulder area, around your face, the eyes, the temples. But keep noticing the sensations around the left hip, so you stay fully alert and aware and not really pushing anything away, but turning towards and being curious. Exhale helps. So again, a grounding practice. Steady, long exhale, maybe even a tiny pause at the end of the exhale. Experiment. Ujjayi breath, if you know and it's familiar for you. And then gently we're releasing by walking the hands so you have your downward facing dog hands at the top of the mat. The back toes tuck, walk them a little bit closer so it's easier for you to lift yourself into a three-legged dog. Feel free to stay here. If it feels okay for the hip to open the left hip on top of the right hip, do that. Or you can also bend into the knee, letting that heel drop towards the right buttock. Keep lengthening that left inner knee away from yourself, but grounding the hands down, so still openness in the shoulders. Alright, straightening the knees, squaring the hips, and then coming to a little bit more dynamic way to work with the hips. So warrior 2, remember, position your feet correctly, look at your front heel as it cuts off the instep of the back leg. And then as you start to bend into that front knee, really look at it and guide it so that it moves and is in line with the middle toe of your left foot. Check your shoulders so that they ride on top of the hips. And then release the shoulder blades down along the back, lengthen your fingers away. But hug the arm bones into their sockets, so stability. You can try same with the legs, grounding down the feet, pushing the ground down, and then hugging the thigh bones into the hip sockets. Make your breath the priority. Feel the ground. Again, feel that hip, tucking the left sitting bone under. Steady, calm, stable, even breath. Just a little bit longer. And then see if you can keep that bend in the front knee when you come to the side angle pose. So remember your left elbow on the thigh, right hand up. You can stay straight up towards the ceiling, or you can reach it forward. So there's this one straight line from the heel to the hip to the shoulder to the tips of the fingers. And only if you are not pushing your left buttock back out, you can keep that buttock tucked under. Bring the fingertips down onto the mat, left fingertips. Keep opening your belly, your chest up towards the ceiling. Keep grounding the back foot down, the little toe side of the back foot down. Again, calm breath. Good work. Bring both hands on either side of the left leg, release it. The downward facing dog for just a moment to feel the both hips, and then the left knee comes halfway towards your hands on the mat. You walk the left foot out towards the right, and then you bring the right knee behind the left knee and walk the right foot away towards the left. So there's this space between the heels. Careful when walking back, so not too much pressure on the knees. Please bring something under the buttocks. That also helps when the hips are a bit more closed. Again, I changed position so you can see better, but I'm not mirroring. So your left knee is on top. Your both sitting bones are down on the mat, and your bottom knee, your bottom leg can be straight. So this makes it easier for the hips. It's also safer. So if there's any injury, in that right knee, then please keep that bottom leg straight. And then start to find your edge. So coming hands in line with the knees, and you can stay quite upright. No need to come forward. Or if you feel again that you can come forward without lifting your buttocks off, you can still stay grounded. You can still take deep breaths. You can still feel that you're not tensing, but you can surely feel the hips. There's sensations there. So again, the invitation, turn towards. Be curious. Exhale out, out, out. Empty, empty, empty. And then gently walk yourself up. Lift the knees closer. Shift your legs so that the sole of the right foot is down on the mat, knees bent, and your left ankle is right on top of that right knee. You can walk the hands further back to make space, drawing the left toes up towards the left knee. And again, if there's more openness, then you start to walk your chest closer. Your left knee moves away from yourself, so your chest and the shin come closer. Again, feel that left hip. Be aware what's happening there. Find a releasing breath that helps. And then moving into that double pigeon version where you start to swivel and shift that right knee so that the right heel comes right under the left knee. Or see, crossing a cross-legged seat is also a version here. If you come to cross-legged seat, then again, just move the heels away from each other, more in line with the knees. Remember, no pain in the knee. So if you're feeling that, then coming to a cross-legged version. Activate the toes towards the knee, that protects your knee joint. And then when you do come forward, gently push the hands down or the elbows down onto the mat so that you shift your weight back towards the hips, towards the buttocks. Here, spread the sitting bones away from each other. Feel the inner groin, feel your spine, your heart lifting forward while the hips move back. And then again, a grounding, exhale, exhale, exhale out. And then gently move yourself out of the pose. And one last time, coming into a symmetrical Paschimottanasana, forward fold. So again, to keep the integrity in this pose, you really want to straighten the spine, almost as if you're trying to concave the lower back a little bit. So especially lifting the lower back out of the pelvis. So if you need to keep your knees bent to do that, then keep the knees bent. Keep the back of the neck long and feel the back body here. Deep breath into the back body. Steady long exhale out. Good work. Really well done. Take your deserved rest in Shavasana. Please spread your feet wide, hands on either side. Stay here as long as you have time. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.